You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick, both inside and outside of the music business.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. My guest today, Jean Dolabella, is a multi-instrumentalist from Brazil, best known for his time playing drums in Sepultura, and now in his own band, Ego Kill Talent, where he plays both drums and guitar. We will talk about where things were at for Ego Kill Talent before the pandemic, how the past 2 years have changed his life, and the great things that are on the horizon for Jean and the band. So come along with me as I catch up with Jean Dolabella. Hey, Jean, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to see you.
Yes, same here. It's a mixture of excitement and I'm a little nervous as well, because I know you have interviewed so many great guys and like people that I love so much. And it's a mixture of that. And I so wanted to talk to you because I haven't seen you for a long time. So it's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you belong among the people that I've interviewed, of course. And so don't feel nervous whatsoever. But it is so nice to have a chance to just catch up and like hear about what you've been up to. And has been like, I keep saying it, but it's like almost therapeutic because just like
I get it.
Having a chance to sit and talk to my friends for an hour and catch up and hear about everything that's been going on and everything that you have coming up. And I think it's also like inspiring for people to hear what is going to be happening in the future too. So we will cover all of that for sure. But first of all, tell us how you've been over the past couple of years.
It's been, ups and downs. It's crazy to think, like, if I go back like 2 years ago and we had like a whole year full of shows, and it's crazy because we had just Ego Kill Talent, my band, we had just recorded the new record back then. It's not new anymore, but our last record. And we recorded at 606 Dave Grohl Studios, and that was amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to go there.
I have not.
Everywhere you look, there's like all these photos and everything, that awards, and it's like a history walls and stuff like that. And all their gear and everything, it's there, and they let us use everything. It was just such a crazy experience, really, really awesome. And that happened because the year before we went on tour with them here in Brazil. So we played a few stadiums with the Fools, and it was Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters, and Ego Kill Talent. So yeah, we ended up recording the record there, and we were very excited. And then that same year, we got signed with BMG and C3 Management, and also William Morris as an agency. And it was like everything lined up, and a lot of shows lined up.
Yes.
All the festivals in Europe, and like a huge tour over the US as well. And so all lined up, and then the pandemic happened. So we had to like change everything, and everybody was like, I don't know what to do. How can we make this happen? And it was weird because we were like very excited. Like it seemed like we were getting to that point of, really being able to really like work as a band, like worldwide. And so we were there, and then everything happened, and then we had to cancel everything. So it was very frustrating. But at the same time, everybody had to deal with it. It wasn't like a personal thing, it wasn't just happening with us. It was like the whole world stopped for a little bit.
Right.
But with that, everything changing in our lives, like I had to, when I saw that the pandemic was gonna just be for a while. It wasn't like, it wasn't a thing like for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
When I knew that that was gonna happen, I moved. I was living in São Paulo, which was like the main city, like where like all the cases were happening. So we were like, let's just move and see what's going on. So we went
Mm-hmm.
down south. We have family house like right at the beach, really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful place. So I stayed there with my family for, I don't know, about like 4 or 5 months. That was really good because it changed everything. It changed the perspective. It changed the way we deal with each other in the family, within the band, and it changed
Mm-hmm.
everything. It changed everything. So that was the beginning of it. And then I came back to São Paulo, and then things started like doing, not not really happening because they're happening now, but started
Right.
like, yeah, just like it seemed that things were like picking up again. And so then we did the first live as a band. We hadn't done anything before that, and then we did also a driving show, which was
Mm-hmm.
pretty awesome. That was like really amazing and very different from everything else I've ever did in my life, because
Right. Right.
it was like a big, huge stadium with a bunch of cars and
That's
everybody
yes.
honking. Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
it was awesome. I
Absolutely.
mean, just to be with the guys playing again on stage, that was great. But yeah, I mean, after that, we just like every other band, just trying to, be more active online and just doing things here and there. And
Mm-hmm.
now that, this year, it really seems to be like things are happening again. We have this tour with Metallica starting in May.
Yes.
Yeah, so we play a few stadiums with them here in Brazil, and then we go straight to Europe and play uh, all the main festivals there, like Rock and Ring, Rock and Park, Grass Pop,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the festivals, great festivals, Rock and Rio, Lisbon as well. Um, and then after that, we go to the US to start recording the new record. So that's the plan. And we have, I think, yeah, we have one festival, which was the name of it? Aftershock in
Yes.
Sacramento. That's on
Mm-hmm.
October 8th. So we have that and probably a few other shows, and that's how it looks like now.
That's so good. It's so
Yes.
good to hear. And I have to say that you were one of the people that I thought about when this all started happening because you did have this incredible year lined up for 2020. And
Yeah.
I was so excited for you. And, the Foo Fighters tour and just looking at the lineups for the things that you were doing. I was
Yes.
so excited, like, and it felt to me and the BMG thing, and
Yeah.
it felt to me like, you guys were, like, breaking out into
Yes.
this even more well-recognized band
Yeah.
and, just being, like, on the lookout for what you were doing. When this whole thing happened, you were one of the people that I was just like, "Oh," just it was painful.
I know.
To just
I
see
know.
things being canceled and feel
Yes.
like, okay, it's gonna happen, it's going to be time again.
Yeah.
Like you said, realizing that this is going to be a longer thing than a 2-week,
Yeah.
period of
Yeah.
time and it
Yeah.
just dragging on. But I'm so happy. I saw the lineup, you guys going on tour with Metallica, and I think Greta Van Fleet is
Yeah.
also on that tour. And I was just like,
Yes, they
what a
are.
great lineup. And also like having your fans be able to see each other's bands on a tour like that is huge.
It
So
is.
exciting. Like that's just amazing. So big things to come. And talking about like the whole change in perspective, moving to the family home near the beach and like a whole new family dynamic. So many of the drummers that I've been talking to are feeling that same thing, like, the way that the pandemic has changed perspectives on life, time, family time,
Yeah.
and, like, just kinda, like, opened your eyes and and mine as well, from my perspective, how much my life has changed over the past couple of years, but understanding what is worthy of time and how valuable it is, and the whole, like, the value of family time is just, um it's
It
just so
is.
much more present.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a, I don't know, it put all of us in contact with ourselves as well, So
Mhm.
I had to like I don't even know how to say that, but it's like reconnect with myself and try to understand, like, for real, what am I, like, what do I really want, and what are my
Yeah.
goals for real? Because at the same time, I think we were all in this, um like, going so fast with everything,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all, like, the information that we're bombarded like all the time, and there's a lot of things, and you want to do this and you want to do that, and you have to play good, you have to look good, you have to, like, everything at the same time. And I think the pandemic hit, and then, well, at least to me and a lot of my friends, I noticed that I had to sort of like slow down and just look at myself and see what's real and what's just like something that came with this whole fighting, like, kind of with no reason, sort
Yes.
of, it's crazy.
Yes.
But and it's crazy because it put me, even when I'm like with the instrument, like, because I'm not only a drummer, I play the guitar and the bass, and I like producing bands as well. And when I think about it, it's like, don't get me wrong, I love playing the drums, and drums is it's my first instrument, is the instrument that I really dedicated a lot in my life to play. But I really like music, like big melodies and big, like a good
Mm.
harmony, and it's like about the whole thing. It's not only about the instrument.
Yes.
And I noticed that when I because we had like a lot of time, right? I
Yeah.
mean, during the pandemic, we were like, well, we don't have a lot to do, actually. So
Mhm.
there was like a little bit of that period that when I was trying to practice, I kind of started like looking at it like, should I really practice and what to practice? Because
Mhm.
it's crazy, because I saw that I was like on this really like crazy life that you have to this and that, and that, when I had to sit with my, like, just myself and the drums, and no, like, goals, or nothing to do, it was
Mhm.
completely different, because it changed the way I looked at it. For a long time, I hadn't looked to my instrument that way in a long time. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yes,
and then
yes.
playing a little bit, and then playing to the songs that I liked, and then sometimes just respecting the time that I didn't want to practice, or I didn't want to play, and just like, I had like this period that I was just reading a lot, and just, it, it,
Yes.
I think it was there is this good, um the good part of it. It's not only like, oh yeah, it was bad, we canceled everything and we're not
Right.
doing anything. I think it was there is a very big, like, positive side to it, you know
Yeah. Well, there's value, I think, in the
yeah.
lessons learned, and I agree with you. The time, like having time and having to um listen to yourself
Yeah.
for once, instead of
Yeah.
instead of just like do the next thing that you're supposed to do or that you have to
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
When you're on that kind of like treadmill of life and career, and you're just doing what you have to do and just getting to the next thing, I think it's a whole different mindset when suddenly your whole world stops, and you have to think about what you actually want to spend time doing and what is meaningful to you. And
Exactly.
for someone like you, like me, like a lot of the people that we know, that's never been a question. Like you didn't have that option. Like, what do I want to spend my time doing? What is meaningful in my
Yes.
life? What is going to be something that's valuable to me? And sometimes that's scary. That's a scary thing to suddenly be faced with. Um,
Yes.
I think about one of the things at when I worked for the Zildjian company and I worked in the factory, learning how to make cymbals. I remember being at a machine or different machines during this time and having a lot of time like to think. And
Hmm.
because you're
Yes.
doing a process and you're working with a machine, you're by yourself, you're kind of like in your own head. And I remember at the time thinking like I've never had this much time to think, just to like let my brain
Yes.
go and think. And I think like that's one of the things during the pandemic that occurred to me. Like we're faced with our own thoughts, we're faced with our own
Absolutely.
decisions, our own opinions on things. And it was a huge lesson for me personally. And it sounds like a lot of us were in that same boat and maybe
Yes.
we're really like changed for good moving forward and changed for the better,
I,
and able to really
definitely.
like put our wants and needs first, um,
Yes.
moving forward. And you know what? That creates better output, I think. Like the
For
music
sure.
will be different and it'll be more of what is you. Like you'll be in it more.
Totally
And
agree.
and I
Yes.
love that part of it. So,
Yes. I
you
totally agree.
know,
I
so
mean,
there
there's
were
it changed us for
yes.
yeah, right. I mean, when I'm writing now, it seems like it opened like a new door, sort
Mhm.
of, and I'm really
Mhm.
trying to connect to that thing because I think that's like the real door. It's almost like the door that you don't have to be so worried about it, and
Mhm.
just be yourself and just like let it go for a little bit, let everything that is happening at the same time, let it go for a little bit, and then just
Yes.
get in contact with that real you, sort of,
Yes,
so yeah,
yeah.
it's
And we talked a little bit about, perfectionism and that,
yes.
trying to let go of that need to put out the most perfect form of whatever it is, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah,
And I think that lesson comes with time and life lived anyway, but I also think the pandemic, like, helped erase that need for everything to be absolutely perfect.
it did for sure. And you know what, like, this is like I haven't really talked publicly about it, but like it's been like a couple of months maybe, but I had this sort of breakdown that I
Mhm.
had this never happened to me before. It was like always like um I'm gonna say mild depression because
Mhm.
I don't really know how to put it, but it's like I completely lost my like motivation, and I was thinking and feeling very nihilistic, and it was very, very deep and hard. And I guess it was probably like the sum of all these years of just being so hard on myself, like to get everything right. And it's like English, for example, this is my
Mhm.
second language, and it's really, really important to me to be a good communicator and to really express what I'm trying to say in English, because I'm trying to communicate with a lot of people. So
Mhm.
this is very important to me. But I got to a point that all of those things, all of those main goals in my life, they were like crushing me, like, because it had to be so perfect. And it's almost like I would, depending on where or when you called me to do this interview,
Mhm.
I probably would say no, but just
Mhm.
just because I was afraid of it, and I couldn't admit a little bit, because the perfectionism, it takes you to a place that you have all these like, um, you're gonna you're gonna try to say something just to get away with it, and then
Right.
I'll just like, no, I'm not gonna do it because this or that. But it's just like It's just because I'm afraid of it. And I think after having this breakdown, it was like for a week, and then I got COVID, and then I had to stay home for like 15 days.
Yes.
And so it was a good like block of 20 days that I had just with me and thinking about it and trying to understand and see how can I come out of this. And it's funny because it was maybe the first time in my whole life that I really admit that I was afraid of something, and also to let go and say like, I'm afraid and it's okay, because it's just a lot of pressure or whatever, and it's fine. And at the same time, just to allow myself to just to be myself and do whatever I'm capable of doing, because if I'm talking to you like now and for some reason I can't say this or that, or I have this problem with a word, or it's fine, because I'm not even supposed to be speaking in English, right? I mean, this is my second language, so
right.
Well,
Yes.
you got what I'm saying.
And plus, please understand, your English is fantastic. I mean, can you imagine? I can't speak a word of Portuguese, so, well, maybe a few words, but it just
probably bad words, huh?
Right. Well, I don't know. We won't list off the words. We will not do that. But like, I mean, it's amazing because we are so hard on ourselves. Always. We are the hardest on ourselves. And you and I have talked about that, just personality wise. We're just really, we want to do it right and make it right and, be the best possible. But at the end of the day, I think one of the things that I've come to realize more recently is that it just doesn't matter. None of that matters. It is about, even if whatever you're doing is meaningful to yourself, even if no one else gets it, like that's good enough. That's enough.
Totally.
And I just one of the things, and I just have to like bring this up as an example, but I recently went to a place where you it's like an art place where you paint ceramics, right? Or pottery. And I feel like in my past life, I like to refer to it, the time before COVID or before I've kind of come to the realization, I would have been like, oh, it has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. And this experience, I was like, you know what? They don't have the colors that I want. I'm just going to mix colors, and I'm going to make my own colors, and I'm going to paint it however I want to paint it. And it was the greatest experience. Like every color was a mixed custom color, and it ended up coming out great. And I was super happy. But it's like the fun was in creating something and knowing that whatever came out was going to be what it was supposed to be. And I think that part of it is like, that lesson is so big, and it is so helpful to understand that. And I think like my younger self just was so wrapped up in making it perfect that I wouldn't have enjoyed the process. And I think that's like, that's the part, that's the lesson.
Yeah, I think you put it beautifully, because I mean, enjoy the process. This is like the only thing. I mean, what's the meaning of all this,
Right, exactly.
If you don't enjoy the process, I mean, if you're just doing the process to get somewhere or get better, and what is it to get better, better at what? And better than what,
better than what? And in whose opinion, right? Because it's all relative, right? So just it's a huge lesson. So I'm so happy that you're feeling better about things, and I know all the things in life that can affect us and cause us to feel less than we would like to be feeling are tough to get through. But I'm just so glad that you're feeling better, and that you said yes to this, because it means a ton to me. And it's really nice to get to hear like what you've been through over the past couple years. And it definitely helps, because we have all been in this really weird limbo situation and trying to figure out life in a different way.
Yes.
And I really want to hear about Ego Kill Talent, because you and I met when you were playing drums in Sepultura
Yeah.
years and years and years back. And when you made the transition into Ego Kills Talent, and I immediately like saw you playing guitar and bass, and you would send these videos, and I'm like, holy moly, this is incredible. I didn't know you were a multi-instrumentalist, and so fantastic at it. And I really kind of want to hear about like the the change from being behind the kit to being out in
Mhm.
front. I mean, you're on these like crazy festival dates with the Foo Fighters, and you
Yeah.
know, how was that for you being a perfectionist and like knowing that suddenly you're out in front, you're at the front of the stage
Yes.
and all of that.
Well, I mean, I've been playing guitar and the guitar and the bass since the beginning, So when I started playing the drums, I was also, playing the guitar and playing the acoustic, and so this has always been part of my life. But
Mhm.
yes, I had mostly played drums in a bunch of with a bunch of people in a bunch of records, and with Sepultura was a very intense, and that was the first time that I had to play that many shows in a row and playing thrash metal and that fat with speed and all that energy and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. It was amazing, but after I quit the band, I was trying to find like the perfect balance, because as I said before, I really like big melodies and harmonies, and I had a few things that I've written while I was in Sepultura, or even before.
Mhm.
So Ego Q Talent was just the beginning of me and the other guys just like allowing ourselves to put that out, and and it's crazy because we have it's two drummers in the band. It's me
Mhm.
and Rafael, and which is really cool because when you're writing and you have the opportunity to, like, let's say I'm playing the guitar and I have this riff, and Rafael is playing the drums, you look at it from a completely different perspective, because you're I'm not expecting anything, or if I am, I'm like with my drummer head, just expecting something, and he will bring something completely different, and that's so cool, and
Mhm.
so it enriches the process so much. And so when we started the band, we didn't really know how was going to work out, because we didn't even know if it would work out, right? I
Mhm.
mean, if this will make sense, because I mean, to change instruments, and so that the logistics of that, it's just all crazy. But we weren't thinking about that at all. We were just like writing music and enjoying the process, like and when that started to like when things were like starting to become like a whole song or like music,
Mhm.
then we started thinking like, why don't we just play this just the way we write this, because it's so unique, and at the same time, it's like it doesn't it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me to play what Rafael had played, because he plays in his way, and it's so we tried to take advantage of that, just to have two drummers in the band, and in a band as well that everybody plays the guitar and the bass. So we started really developing that thing, and we started doing shows like that. So it happened since the beginning. It's like if we recorded that song and I'm playing the drums, I would never play the guitar on that song,
Mhm.
and vice versa. So it's like if I'm playing the drums on that song, probably Rafael will he's probably playing the bass, and that's how we represent that song live. So, but in the beginning, it was very difficult to make that the whole dance happen, just to make it, because you got to think about the dynamics of the show as well. So it's not only,
Right.
because like if you're like for Sepultura, for example, when we were doing the set list, we were like just going for the songs, like this song after this song, and that's it. That's good, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But for Eagle Q Talent, we got to think about the songs and the logistics of it, like, because
Right.
if I'm gonna be here, then I'm gonna be hit there. What side of the stage I'm gonna play, and there's like a lot of things happening at the same time. But it's so awesome at the same time, because it gives us, it's so fresh for us when you're
Mm-hmm.
playing like that. It's a lot, it's fresh because like it's a completely different experience, like to play
Absolutely.
drums for a whole show, when you're just playing the drums. It's awesome, of course, I mean, but it's almost like you're having one only experience, because you're like behind the kit and far away from the people, and the energy is one. And then when
Yes.
you go to the guitar, it's a completely different energy, because you're a lot more closer to the public, and you can move a lot more on the stage, and you
Mm-hmm.
can really like just let things happen and jump or do whatever you want because of the song, so you're like
Right.
going with the sensations of the song. So it's a very, very awesome experience. But at the same time, as I said before, it wasn't something that happened in a second. It took us a while as a band to figure out like a good way to make the whole dance happen.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
totally understand that. Absolutely. And I love it is a different dynamic being out in front and interacting like face to face with
Yeah.
people other than, be as opposed to being behind the kit and almost like protected. I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Um but oh, that's incredible. And also like the name of the band, Ego
Mhm.
Kill Talent. I just feel like it fits with the theme of everything we've just been
Yes.
talking about
Yes.
because, letting the ego get in the way and instead of letting the talent just come through.
Yes,
And
I mean, it's a metaphor, right? I mean,
mhm,
I have it on my chest,
yes.
because I want to look at this all the time and have it and just take it as it's a message that you have to
Mhm,
deal every day, like to, and it's funny because this always happened naturally. It's not that that we planned to do this and then we became Eagle Q Talent. Uh, this metaphor is something that we are constantly talking about among us, so like we are a kind of band that we're always like talking to the psychology behind everything, like, and talking how is the best way to to enjoy life, and be friends. And so we get very deep when we're
mhm,
together,
mhm.
and the name, it's almost like what we were trying to say, but it's not that we're trying to say that we don't have the ego. It's not at all. It's actually we're dealing with it all the time, so that's the message.
Yeah, recognizing it and,
Yes. Yes.
making sure that it sounds like you keep each other in check while also supporting each other, and
Yeah.
that is incredibly important,
Mhm.
especially going through the past couple of years to, like, have those people around you that lift you up and
Yeah.
also, like, are straight with you about things, and, that's incredible that you
Absolutely.
have that within the band dynamic.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
That's so good. And talking about like the opportunity to record at Dave Grohl's studio,
Mhm.
and I just remember you telling me like, we would catch up and what's going on, what's happening now, and you tell me about all these great things happening, and it's just I love that this band has taken you to those places,
Yes.
um and I do um those opportunities are the things that like make you grateful for having something that's yours. And I do remember having that conversation with you about making the transition into this band and your own thing and doing your own project,
Yeah,
and making something that's yours. And I just think that's a huge, huge deal.
it is. It is. And yeah, I mean, when I joined Sepultura, Sepultura was already, I don't know, 20, they've been playing together for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like there is the game already. So you just, like there is no way to be. Well, I was, of course, part of the band and part of everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it's totally different because you get in a position that a lot of everything is happening already. So when I quit and I started like this new thing, it's really like it's a completely different thing because now, like and and as you mentioned, like it's especially for us perfectionists, it's just like it's something that helped me so much with that as well,
Mm-hmm.
to try to just allow things to happen,
Mm-hmm.
like because now I'm also one of the guys who writes the music. I'm since the beginning with that, and we talk about the lyrics and everything is we deal with everything, all of us, so the five
Yeah.
of us, we write everything together. We it's it's not a kind of band that um someone comes with like the music pretty much like already,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
the way that you're supposed to play, and it's not
Sure.
like that. It's just like everybody's just like doing everything you can possibly do to make it the best that you can, so it's like a very like it's a
A
collaboration.
collaboration. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So it's not like a one writer type of deal, like that's like just one guy writes. It's everybody writing and doing everything that we can possibly do to make that right. But at the same time, I'm not saying by any means that Sepultura is a bad or good about that, and I'm not saying that. And also in Sepultura, I had a lot of we were writing a lot of this stuff together, actually,
Mm-hmm.
so me and Andreas, we would exchange. He would send a riff to me and I'll send some drum parts and I'll just try to figure it out in my studio. We would record stuff at my studio, just the two of us, and
Mm-hmm.
then bring
Mm-hmm.
the other guys and then try things. So it was a very collaborative thing as well. But Eagle Q Talent, since we start fresh, so
Mm-hmm.
since the beginning, we were like all like very like putting all the insights and everything that we can, so it's a different experience, and it's great, and it feels great. Yeah,
It's so good. Yes.
yeah,
Totally different when it's something that's grown out of something that you started. I think the
yeah.
feeling is different for sure.
It is.
And I can't forget to mention that the album that came out, um, 2021, right? It was last year. The Dance Between
Yes,
Extremes. I'll have
the
to
dance
link
between
that.
extremes.
And you said you're going to be going back in the studio working on the next album. So that's super exciting too.
It is. It is. And it's at the same time, it's so weird because we didn't have the chance to go on tour with this album. So it's weird. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of other bands are going through the same thing because they had
Mhm.
to, just to release this stuff during the pandemic, and they didn't have a
Yes.
chance to play. But this is going to be a very different experience for all of us. I mean, to just be on the road with a few new singles, and then the record that we put out like a couple of like almost a couple of years ago, and
Mhm.
mix that with the new stuff and the old stuff, and it's exciting. I'm pretty excited about it, and also the all this that we had just talked about, the new experiences with ourselves, and this whole pandemic thing. And I think this is gonna be transparent in some way in the songs, because we're gonna just talk and about what we just had to go through,
Yeah.
musically and also on the lyrics, So
Hmm.
I'm very excited about that. It's gonna be fun. Yeah,
I can't wait to hear it. I'm psyched, and yeah, and hopefully I'll get to catch you on one of these dates. I hope you guys come near enough because it would be so good to see you in person,
of
not just on
course.
the
Yes,
screen.
I
We
can't wait.
I can't
Can't
wait
wait,
to get
man.
back to
Yes,
that.
yes,
It's so important. And I want to talk to you about the studio too, because you just mentioned recording in your studio, the Family Mob Studios.
Family
And
Mob.
is that where you are right now?
No, I'm in
Okay.
a different city now because I'm like spending 2 weeks here and 2 weeks in São Paulo. So I'm in Belo
Hmm.
Horizonte right now, which is like Minas Gerais, which is the state right above São Paulo.
Hmm.
So part of the family is here, part of the everything that I do, it's there. The band is there, so I'm like
Back and
going back
forth.
and forth. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, kind of crazy, but
But yeah, but it works, right?
it
As
works. It
long as it
works.
works,
Yes,
that's great.
it
And
does.
it's so great though that you have that space. And I remember when you started doing interviews out of there, which
Yes,
was super cool.
yes,
I'm just recalling like a Thomas Pridgen interview from back in
yes.
the day, right?
We did a bunch of guys. Yes, Thomas Pridgen. Um, yeah, with a bunch of people, with Dave King from the Bad Plus.
Yes.
Um, yeah, these all the um, Dave. Who else? Yes, there was a bunch of people. I remember also. I mean, we used to bring people to do like workshops and master classes as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, we did like Dave Lombardo from Slayer, Jean Paul from Clutch.
Mhm.
Yeah, a bunch of people. Aaron Spears.
Yes, yep.
I love that guy so much, man.
I love him too. I was just texting with him this
He's
morning. I just,
such a nice person, man. He's
he
yeah.
just brightens up any situation, I
Yes,
swear.
exactly. Yes. But I'm actually sort of doing this new season of interviews, but it's in a different way because this is more like I've been doing this research for a few years. It's a research on practice and
Mhm.
how to practice and why to practice and what to practice, that kind of thing. And now I'm on this phase of the research that I'm going to start interviewing a bunch of people, not only drummers, but also like musicians and maybe even like people from sports, just to
Mhm.
talk about practicing effectively. And yeah, I'm very excited about this. This week I'll start doing the interviews, like the first ones, and yeah, I'm very excited about it. And I think it's gonna be awesome, as you said before, to like for us to be just talking to people and getting out there, and just this helps us so much. It
Absolutely.
helps
And
us so much. Yeah,
in a day and age where we are focusing on where to put our time, I think
yeah,
more information about effective practice and,
yeah,
what you can do, I think that's hugely important. I actually just
yeah.
posted a clip with Pete Lockett talking about meditation through practice, and I thought that was really
That's
fantastic. He might be
yes,
someone to talk about because he
yeah,
is like a
of
whole
course.
different perspective on that.
Yes, yes. I really want to talk about. Well, Benny Grab just released a book. I don't know if you heard about,
Mhm.
which is called "Effective Practicing for Musicians." I guess it's something like that.
Mhm.
And I'm reading it right now, and it's funny because there's a lot of things that he says there that I completely agree. Some not that much, but anyways, the research that I'm doing is to try to get all those, all that information with a bunch of people, and then do like a sort of like an article that you could, like, everybody can just go there and
Mhm.
just use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
That sounds great. I love that. And I can't not mention, I have to mention this too. One of the things that I see in your content when you post is your fantastic t-shirt collection. And I'm
Thank
always
you.
noticing whatever, whatever's on your shirt. You have these great these great shirts that just every time I see one, I'm just like, I want that shirt. And like,
Well, I'll get you.
um,
I'll get you some names, contacts.
great.
Yeah.
Well, you have a Jaws t-shirt, which I've seen. I didn't know if you were a fan of
Yes.
that movie, the
Yes.
the
Yes,
horror
for sure.
genre.
I
Um,
actually, it was funny because I watched it again, the first one with my kids the other day.
oh, did you?
Yeah, and they hadn't seen it, of course. And it's funny because they loved it. I thought they were gonna say like, "Oh yeah, this is too slow," you know. I mean, for them, I mean, all the new movies are so like, there's no more of those big scenes and that
Right.
tension and stuff like that. It's kind of, it's rare to see that in the new movies, but they
Mhm.
loved it, and it's such a great movie. Yeah,
I mean, it's such a classic, and I feel
it
like
is.
anyone who grew up in that time period, like, as a
Yes,
child when those movies came out, like, we all have the same totally unrealistic fear of being, like, even in a swimming pool. I remember being in a swimming pool as a kid and just, like, swimming and, like, looking behind me like,
just
"Ooh,"
to make sure there's not. Yes,
"What?" Like, what
just make
world?
sure
What
there's nothing behind me. Yes, yes,
right,
right.
right, seriously. But I love that the kids love that.
They did.
Fellow drummer Brandon Steinekert, I just have to give a shout out because he had like movie night. He built this like pool area with a movie screen. He had this movie night where he played all the Jaws movies and they all were like in the pool. And I
Really,
think he had
that's
like
awesome.
the water was red and stuff, like lighting on it and stuff. But I was just thinking like, how fun would that be to be in a pool watching those movies? But
Yes.
then I'm just like, I'd probably be like curled up on a raft
Yes.
with the irrational fear.
I mean,
Yeah,
especially if you can't see what's in the water,
yes,
I
it's
mean, if
dark
it's,
out.
yeah, if you can't see,
Oh,
then it's, yeah, it's weird.
too
It's weird,
too scary. But I another of your shirts though, I just have to mention. I like bands that don't exist yet,
right?
right? And like, how great is that? Just
Yes.
thinking
What can
about
you
the
say?
future. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. Love it.
Anyway, I feel like that just shows your creativity um
Thank you.
and in speaking of creativity too, is there is there something like even outside of music that inspires you? Like, are you into um art or like other
Yes.
things that you kind of like bring into your
Yes,
creativity?
I'm very, very into art, but I've been reading a lot. And
Mhm.
I'm on this phase that I bought the whole collection of Dostoevsky. I don't know if you heard of him. This
Yes.
Russian, yeah, writer. It's so amazing, but at the same time, you gotta go slow in it because I'm trying. I also like here and then. I'm like I'm finished one book and then I go like somewhere else and see like just like a any romance or anything
Yes,
just to
yeah,
just
something
to
like
break that.
lighter.
Yeah, because it's very dense, but
Yes.
it's amazing. I mean, he puts you right there, like this is, we're saying like this is like the 1800s, and it's almost like you can smell the place. he
Mm.
he puts in a very like very deep, and yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I just love everything from him. And yeah, I mean, pretty much it. I mean, I've been reading a lot. I really love books. And let me see, Tolstoi. It's another
Mhm.
Russian, which is
Mhm.
pretty good. I just started getting to Tolstoy as well. Clarice in Lispector. I don't know if you heard of her.
No, no, I
Yeah,
haven't.
yes, she's amazing.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
I
to look
just
her up.
discovered. I mean, I've heard of her, like I've been hearing about her like for forever, but I've never had a chance to read. And then it's been like a couple of months ago. I've read the first book, which is called what was it? Estrela. Yeah, but I'm not sure how is it going to be in English, anyways.
Or
But I can
yeah.
send you. Yeah, I'll send it to you. But anyways,
That would be great.
it's
I'll
yeah,
look it up. I'll put a link for sure.
yeah, she also, I mean, the way she bends the words. It's just
Mm.
like, it's almost like she says something that she couldn't say. She couldn't, if you're thinking about the language structure, it's
Hmm.
almost like this is wrong, but it feels in a certain way, so
Yes.
it's amazing, beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
I'll have
also deep. It's not so, well, it is like in a existentialism sort of, uh yeah, I'll put it, but it's not heavy as
hmm
Dostoevsky. It's a different, like, you know but it's
a
amazing.
different kind
Yeah,
of heavy, right?
yeah, different kind
Yeah.
of heavy. Exactly.
Right? No,
Yeah,
that's so great. It's interesting to me when musicians kind of like pull from other mediums for
of course.
their
Yeah,
inspiration, and I love reading. I love when I get engrossed in a book and can see things, see the scene, like imagine
yeah,
it. And then when a book ends and you're just like, "Oh, I want it to keep going."
yes,
That kind of thing. I did that grab this. We'll do a Dave Grohl plug here since we've been talking about Dave Grohl so much. But
right
the
on.
Dave Grohl's The
Have you read it?
Storyteller.
Have you read it?
I
Yeah,
just started reading it, and
yeah, I've read it.
it
Yeah, it's pretty
it's
awesome.
great. Like, the way that he tells stories and the relatability
Yeah,
of it is just so good. And that's my vacation reading right there. So
it's really good. And it's amazing to think that someone got to, like, to do everything. It's like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's funny. Like, when you get like half the book, you're like, dude, what else? It's like you've done everything with
I,
the
right.
like with everybody. It's crazy. It's
And now
crazy.
he's a horror filmmaker, so it
Yes.
is
Have you
like
seen the movie?
I did see it. Have you seen
Oh,
it?
I want to see. No, I haven't.
You have to see it, especially having
Yes,
recorded at the studio. So
I know.
Studio
I know.
666, right? The Foo Fighters movie. And
I
it's,
want to see it.
it just is, it follows the nuances of like the horror genre. So
Okay.
all the key elements are in there that, like, are in a traditional horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like there's
Cool.
so much in it that just made me laugh. And then like seeing the guys acting and stuff, like
He put everybody on it, huh? Yeah. He was like,
absolutely. Oh yeah,
yeah.
there's a
Can you imagine? Can you imagine him like going to them and say, "Guys, I just had this idea. Let's
yeah,
just
this is what I want to
do a
do. Yeah.
movie."
But again, like he's at the point in his life and career where he's like, I want to make a horror movie. And it's like,
Of
okay, let's
course.
make a horror movie with the Foo Fighters. So
Yes.
like
Yes.
to get to that point, that's a goal for sure. Just to be able to literally
Yes.
do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
We'll keep
It's a
we'll
long
keep
way to the
working.
top if you want to rock and roll,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so excited for all the things that you have coming up, and I can't wait. I'm going to put some links in the description and in the podcast notes on the podcast
Cool.
platform so everyone can check it out, and also like follow along for the tour dates and
Yes.
see you guys out on tour.
Yes.
Um and yeah, let's definitely see each other in person as soon as humanly
Please.
possible.
Yes. Please.
Cannot wait for that. And I just wish
Cannot
you
wait.
all the best this year with everything coming back, getting back out there, not getting back on that treadmill, but,
Yes.
getting
No more of that.
no more of the treadmill, but making our own choices and
Yes.
really doing the things that we love. That's what's important.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I mean, it's such a pleasure for me to be here, as I said
And it's a
before.
pleasure for me to
Yes.
have you here. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And we will catch up soon.
Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.